This time I'm going to do a quick demonstration talking about how to insert the windows into the floor plan that we drew last time in the previous demonstration. If you haven't seen the other demonstration, go back and review that one first. So what we completed last time was this. We did all of the exterior and the interior walls. I did notice that there are two walls that we forgot, and they're right here. There's one here and one here. This is the shower wall, and this is a little mechanical closet wall. So I'm going to add those real quick. And again, those both will be 5-inch walls. So I'm just going to copy this line right here and bring it down. So copy, select it, move it down right there, 2'6". Okay, that's better. Offset it 5 inches, for that's the thickness for the interior walls, and then trim out the little pieces in between right there. So trim, enter, select everything, enter, click that line, click that line. Do the same thing down here. So copy, bring it up till it looks like it matches there. Let's it looks like it's around 3'3". So 3'3". Offset 5 inches, and then trim, enter, selection, enter, click, and click. All right, before I start putting the windows in, one thing I want to do is I'm gonna put all of the walls on their appropriate layer, and that's I'm going to do that so that it helps differentiate between the walls and the other objects. We do have two layers that we're using. If you look over here in the list of layers, there's a wall exterior, and the A stands for architectural. Wall means the category and the type of walls exterior. Then there's a wall interior. So there's two types of walls. These are already in this file. So a wall exterior, a wall interior. If you don't have them in there, then you're going to have to add them, and just make sure you add them with that name and those colors. That's all that's important, is that those names and those colors. All right, so to make this easier, I'm just going to set everything to one layer first and then go back and change what's different. So I'm going to select all of my walls, everything I have in the project, with a left to right selection, and then I'm going to set them all to a wall exterior. Now I'm going to come in and, using a right to left selection, which means it'll select everything that it crosses and everything that's inside of it, I'm going to select all the interior walls. So I'm doing a right to left selection. You could click on the items individually. It doesn't particularly matter which method you use, but this is an efficient method I like to use. Set all of those to interior, a wall interior. So now I have all my exterior walls are cyan color, which is the a wall exterior, and all of the interior walls are green, which is the a wall interior. There's one little item that is different from what we have, and it's this right here. Now it kind of jogs on both sides, which is kind of peculiar. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to move one side over so it's more, so it kind of, it's 8 inches right here, and then it's going to kind of narrow down to 5 inches. And when you're doing drafting and you have been given a hand sketch like this, some of those items like that, you have the discretion of deciding as the drafter. I mean, the designer will lay out the floor plan and the basic arrangement and the style of the building, but your job is to make their design a real working drawing. So you have to interpret some of this, some of the information they've added. So I'm going to, this line here, I'm just going to erase that one. I'm going to offset this 5 inches. And then I'm going to trim these up, trim this and trim this using the chamfer command. So CHA, click that line, and hit enter, go right back into the command, click that line and that line. So it's 8 inches below down here, and then it goes down to 5 inches. All right, so I think we're pretty good with the walls now. All right, so I'm going to put the windows in. Now, if you look at drawing, what we have, I'm going to turn all my layers off except my image. So these lines here represent the windows. There's a window, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 windows on that side, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on this side. Windows in the dining room and the living room are symmetrical around the center line, so this one and this one are in the same location. So the distance from that corner to the window is the same as from distance from this window to that corner, from the corner to that window. So same thing with those. So those ones I can do one side and mirror. I'm just gonna, and these ones are a little bit different, but I'm gonna do one side first, and then I'm gonna mirror them to the other side and just modify them, just to make things a little bit easier. Okay, so I'm gonna turn all my layers back on. All layers on right there, okay. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut openings for these. I'm gonna draw a line that, and then trim out the lines in between to make the opening for the windows. And the reason I do that is, you know, it's a couple of reasons. Because it'll show your window more accurately in your drawing. It makes it a cleaner type of drawing. It'll look a lot better when you print it out. And if you are going to be using this at some point to make a 3D model, which is often done these days, it helps your drawing be represented a lot more accurately. And it's easier to make a 3D model from a drawing that has all the windows cut out. So, all right, so again, I'm going to take one of the lines I have, or I'm just going to draw a line. So I'm going to draw a line right here, starting from the corner, and now I'm going to move that line to a location that looks like it generally represents where the window starts. Select it, move, going to the right, going to the right. I'm looking at the line and where it lines up with the window. It says 1 foot 3 1/8, so I'm going to round it off to 1 foot 3. All right, and the windows that we're using are these ones over here. We have a block for them. They are 36 inches wide and 48 inches high. The height doesn't really matter because we can't see the height in the floor plan, but the width is what's important. All the windows in this project are 36 inches wide, which is convenient for you guys because you don't have to draw a lot of different sizes of windows. It's not very typical to have all the same width of window, but in this project they're all the same width, 36 inches, which is 3 feet. So I'm going to copy that line right there, 3 feet. Okay, so that distance is now 3 feet from there to there. Okay, so I just copied it. You could offset it. You can do a couple different things. Now I'm going to trim these lines in the middle out. So I start the trim command, type TR, press enter, select everything with a right to left selection. It's got to be right to left, not left to right. Hit enter, or hit the left mouse button, hit enter. Then I can select what I want to trim. So click this one, that one, and that one. And then when I'm done, I hit escape to get out of the command. Now, these lines right here are not the correct layer, so I need to go back and make those the correct layer. I can either grab them like that and just change the layer, which doesn't take very long, or I can use this command here that I use often, which is match properties. So with the match properties, you click on the match properties button, click what has the properties you want, then click what you want to change the properties of. So you see what it did, it matched the layer. It matched the layer from this one to that one. All right, so now that I have one opening set, I can now just copy those vertical lines to this window. So copy, select that line, select that line. I have two lines selected. I have this line and this other vertical line selected. Hit enter, click anywhere as my base point, and I'm looking at the lines, not at my cursor, but at the lines. I'm going straight horizontally to the right. When it gets generally to where it looks like it would line up, let's see what it says. It says 8 foot 11 and a half. I'm going to round it off to 9, so 9 feet. Enter. And then trim. TR, enter, select everything, enter, click, click. So those are the first two openings. Now I can just work my way down the window, looking at the numbers and kind of rounding them off. So I'm going to select those two vertical lines, enter, click anywhere's my base point, moving to the right, looking at where it lines up, 6'10". I clicked something wrong. Let me do that again. Okay, copy, select the two vertical lines, click my base point, start going to the right, 6'10", enter. I'm still in the command, so I can keep going. Kind of looks like it lines up right about there. 13'8". Keep going, and there's one window right there. 22'4". Now, in reality, you probably would want to make sure that you center this window in this space, because I'm sure that would be the intent of the designer, is to center that. So the distance from there to there should be the same distance as from there to there. Mine's off a little bit. It's off 11 inches, so I don't want to have fractions. So I'm just gonna, I can move it. I'm gonna, half of that would be either 5 inches or 6 inches. So I'm gonna use the stretch command, so it'll stretch my dimensions too. Set it to 5. So that's close enough. Then I can go back and trim those out. Trim, trim. Sometimes it'll do that, so you're gonna have to restart the command. Exit the command and then restart it. Trim. Select everything, select all that. Click that and that, that, and that. All right, so that's one side. Now, remember, we talked about these windows here in this living room. They are symmetrical with about this center line that goes right through the middle of the building from these windows. So they are the exact same position, but on the other side. So I can use those, I can mirror those. So I'm going to start the mirror command. It's right there, mirror. Select those two vertical lines and those two vertical lines. Press enter. Now it says specify the first point of the mirror line. I'm going to click on the left over here on this line that I have drawn and come to the right. Come directly straight to the right and then click somewhere along that line. It'll ask me if I want to erase my source objects. The answer is no. Click no. And now they're down here. So I have the ones up here and I have the other ones up here, and they're perfectly aligned. So if I draw a line from here, it'll go and go straight up. It goes right through the exact same position on that side. I can trim those out. I'm going to copy the vertical lines to here. Use a round number, 9'5". Come over here, right about 17'2". So now what I want to do is to copy this window to its location over here. Now again, I'm going to use my judgment in determining what it is the design intent of, the intent of the designer was, and I'm pretty certain that they want to have this window and this window have the same space from the corner, which is a very typical kind of layout, especially for bedrooms. So I'm going to I'm going to figure out what that is. That's 10 inches, right? So I'm going to draw a line right here, and I'm going to move it over 10 inches. And then I'll offset it 36. And match the properties of it, and then trim it out. Okay, all right, so I'm going to trim these out. All right, so now I have all of the openings for my windows. The last thing to do is just place my windows into those spots. Now, we're using the same width of window everywhere, so that makes it convenient for you guys. That's the window. The window is a block, so you need to put it on the correct layer. They're all on the same, they're all on layer 0, so you need to put the blocks on the correct layer. This one needs to be on A glaze, which is windows, A glazing. And then I'll just copy that and put it, I'm using this little point right here, this little, if you look at it, that spot right there, that corner, that little point right there is my snap point. So I'm moving it, selecting it, and then that's my base point is right there. So I'm going to snap it to right there. All right, so that's one window. And now the window, the glass, this line represents the glass right here, is closer to the outside, so it needs to be flipped on the other side of the building. But on this side, it's going to be the same. So I'm going to just copy that everywhere that it needs to be, right there, with using that base point at the top. All right. So on this side, again, this side it needs to be not rotated, but it needs to be, well, I guess you could rotate it. Rotate would work in this case, because it's a symmetrical object, so rotate will work. All right, so again, now the glass is on the outside. Just copy it to all the locations there on the outside. I'm going to put the dimensions on here really quick so you guys can see it, just so you can have it as reference. Dimensions, all right, so on the top, there they are. Right, like that. Let me see. Okay, there you go. And then on the bottom, similar but a little bit different on the one side. All right, so that's inserting the windows. I'm going to do another video shortly, maybe today, maybe later today or tomorrow, about putting the exterior doors in, and then we're going to start looking at some of the interior doors with the pocket doors and things. By the end, I should have demonstrations showing you how to do the majority of the project. So, and if you have questions, let me know.